Oh shit! Never mind. We good. I got the recording started. No worries.
You blew it.
We good.
This man was a bona fide scrub. I find your lack of faith disturbing. Oh, poor you.
I'm funny how? I'm funny like I'm a clown and amuse you? I make you laugh? I'm here to fucking amuse you? What do you mean funny? Funny how? I'm funny.
Stupid.
Thank you for joining us again for another edition of the Participation Trophy Podcast. This is episode 3 or 4, depending upon who you want to ask. I'm joined as always by my regular cast of characters, Abdullah, Jamal, Neil, and fresh off of quarantine vacation, our correspondent just got off the plane from Lost Wages, Nevada. Zain, how was Sin City?
Still smelling like a vacation.
I know, man. So I had booked this flight months back. When it came time, I didn't know if I wanted to go or not, but I ended up heading out there. So we landed on Wednesday, I want to say. So Vegas was good. Everybody was masked up. Wasn't that busy when we arrived, but when we got towards the weekend, it kind of started picking up. Felt a little normal, but all like the table games are like separate. Like the players are separated by glass, and the dealers have masks on and whatnot. So. It was a little different, but I had a good time. Got there on Wednesday, I want to say, and we were on the plane and we were watching the Celtics game, right? Because I had some money on the Celtics winning the series, and a couple of my other friends did too. So we're on the plane watching this game, and I had been on the.
Who you fly out there?
Huh?
Southwest guy, right?
Southwest. Yeah,
Southwest.
Bro, I didn't even know you bounced. Like when you go on vacation, like the Instagram stories just stop. Like. There's no up, like,
I usually post, no lie, but
I had no idea. You might have mentioned that you were leaving, but I
didn't tell anybody, only because like I mean,
you don't want to be shamed. You want COVID shamed.
I don't want to be shamed. Exactly. Let's just let the cat out the bag.
That's real shit, man. I thought about going places, maybe, but I don't want to be like.
Yeah, I honestly that's exactly what at you. Because if people would have asked, and then I mean, it is what it is. So whether or not I deserve to be judged, I don't want to fucking hear it. So, I acknowledge it, but I don't want to hear it. So I didn't post shit. I just headed out there, and that was it. That was a wrap. I took Southwest, so.
He doesn't care what you thought, Abdullah.
Yeah, I'm saying we over here taking like glam shots on the beach with like 15 families and shit.
No.
It's funny, but like guys, he literally told everybody, anybody who listened to the podcast, he told them last week he's going to Vegas. I'm pretty sure that was on this podcast. Is that not correct?
I definitely mentioned it. Yeah, I definitely.
It was in our group chat. He literally sent us a picture of the radio stadium.
You know I black in and out on the show.
No, nobody responded to my pic. I got fucking Raider Stadium right outside my hotel room, like literally bird's eye.
So you said this is an annual trip for you and your boys, right?
I go twice. I used to go 2-3 times a year. I go probably twice a year for NFL first week. And maybe Cinco de Mayo because there's NBA playoffs and a boxing match going on.
Have you ever been March Madness?
No, but my friends go all the time March Madness. They say it's nuts. It's the busiest time of the year, March Madness.
And imagine being Zane's coworker and this motherfucker takes 3 Vegas vacations a year.
Three Vegas.
But I usually still work. Like I still put in some hours. I don't know if I did anything, but I definitely logged some hours, allegedly. But yeah, I usually go twice a year. I love it, and only like a couple of my friends, they know the host there. They've been going there for 20 years, so like we get comps, we get really good rates on rooms. So all in all, like if I win a little bit of money, I end up paying for my flight. I end up paying for food. I stayed at the Delano, which is the suites of the Mandalay Bay.
That's where the Wizard Summer League team of 2019 stayed at.
Oh really?
They always got the Wizards plug, man.
Always got the Wizards plug.
Deep pull, man.
Yeah.
What?
Joe's dick just got hard. Like, oh.
Oh, sorry, Mom.
So, man, you're a sports bettor guy. Yes. I'm a complete novice to it. I just fucking started to understand how to like read lines.
Yeah.
Help from 100-foot level. Kind of explain, what you look for, what you play, what you don't play. Kind of stuff to stay away from. Because now sports betting is legal. It's mainstream. Yep. I don't know if that's changed anything in the landscape in Vegas, but what are kind of ins and outs for like a rookie?
So the first thing I'll say is that even after you've experienced everything and you have found out so much information, none of that information really helps you win. It just helps you not lose. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
All right.
So just from like an introductory perspective, there's a game, odds makers set a line, right? So a lot of the perception is like, oh, if I'm betting on this game, oh, obviously I'm going to pick the Lakers to beat the Rockets. Well, it's not that easy, right? Because if the Lakers are a favorite, they have to win by a spread, right? They have to win by a point total, right?
Okay.
So it's going to be like, for example, we're watching Clippers Nuggets is on TV. Oh yeah, I'm gonna take the Clippers, which they're losing right now, but they're -8, so they got to win by 9 points, right? So
Okay.
even if you pick them, they can win by 6, 5, 4, 3, and you bet on them, you're fucked, right?
I got it. Got it.
Same thing with
Okay.
taking the underdog. If it's a -8 for a favorite, automatically the line is a +8 for the underdog, right? So they can lose, but they can lose by up to 8 points, right?
I got it.
So that's the spreads. When you go into money line, which is just picking a team to win, the favorite, if they're a heavy favorite, you have to risk more money to win less, right?
Got it. Got
But
it.
it's more of a guarantee, quote unquote, right? If you're betting on an underdog straight up, it's gonna you bet $100, they might be plus 280 if they're like the Nuggets or like a big dog. So you bet 100, you come back with 280 plus your 100 back, right?
Okay.
So that's an example of an odd, and there's over and unders and whatnot. One of the biggest things now is people bet big favorites and they assume, oh, there's no way this team can lose. But if anything, nowadays, it doesn't matter, right? If you watch football, basketball, all this stuff, there's no such thing as a guaranteed win. It doesn't matter who it is.
Mhm.
Upsets are happening at like a crazy monumental rate in football, basketball. I've seen minus 10,000 favorites. You see March Madness when there's a crazy, I
Yeah.
know people who have bet the number 2 seed against the number whatever seed in the first round.
15.
And they, you know what I'm saying? Like, and they lost, right? And they're like, oh, it seems easy, but it's really not. So
It's such a big thing that Scott Van Pelt has a whole segment on a show
Exactly.
Beat.
about the beat,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
And
Yeah.
odds
Yeah.
makers
Fantastic
are
segment.
like psychics. Like if you look at a line, oh, this team's favored by 8, usually like so many times they'll win by 9, they'll win by 10, right? Or they'll get the over under number nearly close to perfect. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
they're
So
really good at what they do.
The Wizards did that during the season, right? During games, they had, I think, like the beginning of the second quarter, they had
A
all that
live
shit on the screen. I don't know
Yes.
who it was sponsored by, but all these bets, and Zain, I don't know if you do prop bets. It was something I just learned about recently
So-
too.
Yeah, so I had a prop bet tonight and I got
Okay.
super fucked. So basically tonight I had a prop bet. I had Jason Tatum 25 points, right?
Okay.
10 plus rebounds, and this is a parlay prop bet. And the Boston wins.
Mhm.
Plus 700, right?
Mhm.
So Tatum 25 points, 10 plus rebounds, Boston wins. He got 30 points, he got 14 rebounds, Boston lost. So I didn't win that. But I risked $30 to win 400, like $300, right? Or something crazy like that. But that's an idea of a prop bet. When the Nuggets were playing the Jazz, I bet Jamal Murray points, rebounds, assists, minimum 45 every game, 6, 5, 6, 7. Won all
Yeah.
those bets. That's an idea of a prop bet. And then people do crazy parlays, like risk $10, do 10 teams to win 500, like 200,000, like crazy shit.
So with that said, would a guy like Kawhi be so easy to bet on? Would they bet on a player like him where he would, on any given night, get any amount of those numbers?
I mean, Vegas
Points, rebounds.
Vegas knows what they're doing though with those
Right.
lines, man. They
Yeah,
know.
I mean, traditionally, like Joe's saying, like Vegas knows exactly what they're doing. Mentally, though, like who do you want to put your money on?
Yeah.
Right? It's like you watch NFL. Do you
Yeah.
want to put your money on Mark Sanchez and the Jets? Maybe you want to go with your defense. Like I'm saying, like you might want to say, oh, I want to go with a strong defense.
Right.
Or maybe you say, I'm not betting against Tom Brady. Right?
Right.
I'm not betting against Peyton Manning.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like those,
yeah.
that's a little scary. But there's spots. You got to pick your spots. Like,
Yeah.
but just to close that off, like the biggest thing is whatever you see that looks good. If it looks too good to be true, it's most likely.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
this shit is the science. I remember last year you telling me about
It's like spam
one-
sliding in my DM. It
that,
looks
that
too
one
good.
dude
It can't be true.
the one dude that predicted the Dolphins to beat the Patriots on the road last year or 2 years ago. Remember you were telling me about him?
Yeah.
You talking
And
about
he-
Dustin Hoffman and Raymond?
He
Yeah.
factored in so many elements,
Variables.
so many
Zach
variables,
Galifianakis.
right?
Yeah.
We're talking about
It's
like
crazy.
travel time. It was a short week.
Yeah. It's all about every advantage you can get. Like
It's crazy.
here's the thing, right? Especially NBA. You got 82 games in the season. They're not always motivated to win every game. Sometimes
Correct.
they don't care. You know what I'm saying? So it's like
Yeah.
you really want to put your money on somebody who cares. Like, even in
Jimmy
this game
Butler.
7. Exactly. I mean, yeah. I mean, you might trust
Eric
Jimmy Butler
Maynard.
to get the
Don't
job
put
done.
your money on the Rockets in Game 5 though.
Yeah, you don't want to. Do not bet on Russell Westbrook if you're
Bet
listening.
against Russell Westbrook every
Bet
time.
against Russell Westbrook.
But bet on his turnover count.
Bet on his
You know what I'm
turnover
saying?
prop. Exactly. Right.
There's levels to this.
Angry frustration scowls.
But even some of these bets, like you can bet all the way down to what the opening play of a game is.
Who's gonna win the tip off?
Runner
Tip off? Are
Who
they
hits
gonna
the
run?
first shot? Yeah.
Are
Bro,
they gonna say?
Give me the casino that gives me
bet,
the
like, on
odds on
sprint
that.
route on second down or some shit? Like
Yeah. Is the first play gonna be a run? It's a
First prop I'd heard of, there was a sack in that last Giants Pat Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
It was a safety, like to open the game.
It was
Some guy
the
like
Broncos and Seahawks was the safety
Right.
was the first play for the Broncos.
Right.
yeah,
and
yeah.
people bet on that shit.
Cheat
Yeah,
off
people
on
bet
that
on
shit.
that shit.
They
People
probably
on that
made
shit.
millions on that shit.
People
Yeah.
bet on that shit. People
Man, people
will take
bet on
a shot.
everything.
On a box safety blitzing on a first down or the first play of the game.
Yeah, why not?
Shit.
Jamal, a movie
No,
about
okay, not that in depth, but yeah.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's that? What's that?
Jamal, a movie that goes into a lot of this kind of sports betting psychology stuff is the Will Smith movie with Margot Robbie, Focus. They bet on some wild stuff in that
Oh,
movie.
yeah, I never saw that shit. I was thinking
It's a
That's one
decent
of-
movie.
it's one of
Margot-
Will's like kind of
Margot
lower
Robbie.
tier movies, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Controversial opinion. Will
aren't they
Smith
all
doesn't really
lower
have
tier
good movies, but we'll talk
Yes,
about it
no.
another.
Who?
Yeah, no.
Will Smith?
Will
Will
Smith.
Smith doesn't have good
Ooh.
films, but we'll talk. That's another.
Coming up
another
on
discussion
theater
another day.
shortly.
Hancock was terrible.
Ooh.
Hancock's just one of his better movies, I thought.
Hancock was
We're
terrible.
gonna talk like I Am Legend was a good movie. It
No,
wasn't.
it wasn't.
No,
Wasn't.
not.
7 pounds? Not good.
Yeah, let's
None
get
of
into it. We'll talk about it later.
Men in Black 2.
I've
shouldn't have been done.
I've seen I Am Legend like 1.5 times.
That shit was weak, man.
You know what it is? They're
Bad
all
CGI. It's bad.
Pursuit of Happiness. I've only seen once.
I've
That was
only seen
good.
it once too.
That was
Good
good.
movie.
It was good.
Great movie.
Because it was
Great movie.
emotional. It tugged at your heart,
Yeah.
like just tugged at your heart, right?
7 pounds. I fell asleep.
I didn't like
These-
Pursuit of Happiness either. It's like a
Um,
man's John Q, like sympathetic,
It was
formulaic.
good. No, it was good.
It was good.
I mean,
It was good.
it was based on a true story. It kind of changes the
But
whole.
Zain,
he's running like 2 for 10, like 1 for 8 in his last shit. He putting up Albertson rookie year's field goal percentage numbers. Like let's be real. Let's be real.
Yeah. Independence Day though. I mean,
Trash.
for the era it came out in.
All right, don't jump ahead here. Let's not lose track here. Let's not lose track. Zane, you got a great Vegas story. I need to
Yeah.
hear
So
your great Vegas story.
So basically, first we go to this all you can eat sushi joint in Vegas, right? I research for like 3-4 weeks every time I go to Vegas. I want to eat the
I hate
best food.
Independence Day. What the fuck is wrong with you, man?
It's trash.
Come on, man. Hey, Vivica A. Fox is a fucking stripper, man. Come on.
I know. You don't get to see the stripper scene when it plays on TV anymore, so I got to rent the shit to see her stripping in that.
Yeah, you're not seeing strippers on fucking TBS
Yeah,
airing.
I'm not seeing it.
You're gonna make Jamal defend Will Smith tonight. Shit.
All right, so basically, right? We go to this all you can eat sushi joint. Amazing. $20 all you can eat sushi, and it's like
$20
high quality shit.
Ooh.
All
for $20.
Major key.
$20.
Oh shit.
$20.
Okay.
If you go out there, let me know. That joint was so good.
I thought you was getting the
Anyway.
bullshit like you get a Landover roll,
No,
a Raljon roll.
no, it's so good. But long story short, ate that, felt good, was amazed. We're like, all right, let's go take a walk real quick, right? So we hop outside. I see a store across the street that sells like gummies of sorts, right? Gummies with certain effects, right? So I'm like, let's just walk over there, look around. I like looking at stores with like random shit like that, right? It's like
Yeah.
window shopping, whatever. So I go there, and I'm like, the last time a couple of my friends took these, they took the downers, and they were like falling asleep and like shitting themselves and all sorts of shit. So like, so then we're like, all right, I want to mellow out, right? So I get something, and I've done it before in a very small dose. So I pop one, right? It's 10 millis, right? Nothing crazy. I pop it.
Sure.
We get in the cab, the Uber. We go back to the hotel, right? So I go in my room, and I'm like relaxed for like an hour or two before the next game. I'm in my room, and then I jerk off. Jones amazing. it was and like that's
As you
when
should.
yeah, but it hit me right then.
Overlooking the city.
Yeah. I wasn't even feeling it then. I wasn't even feeling it. But like, you know how time goes fast and time goes slow?
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
right at that moment, Time
Oh,
started
shit.
going slow, and it was
Uh-oh.
like, what the fuck, right?
Uh-oh.
And it
Uh-oh.
was just, it was crazy.
I
So
love
then I
it.
turn over and I fall, and I close my eyes to take a quick nap.
Oh.
Yo, out of nowhere, I'm like seeing colors in my brain and like shapes and like
He woke up 72 hours later.
No, this John is crazy. So like my mind is spinning, right? And I shit you not, this is really hard to put into words, but for like 30, 40 minutes, my mind was showing me images that I recognized. Like, you know, when you recognize something, you don't know what it is, but you have that gut feeling like, what is that? I've seen that before.
Yeah.
It did that to me like 30 times, and it kept doing it, and that shit was like taking me back to my childhood. I was remembering details. I swear to God, I was remembering details and stories that happened when I was a kid that I completely forgot like existed. It was like weird shit. So then like my boy.
So you live natural born killers, basically, is what happened to you.
Exactly. That's exactly like
Okay.
I was going. So my boy calls me. He's like, "Where are you at?" I'm like, "Yo, I'm fucked up, man. I don't know what's going on. My heart starts beating. Like I can't breathe."
Shit. Oh
So
shit.
then like freaking out, and I don't do any of this stuff. You got like I really don't. I'm a rookie.
I've never done this before.
I promise. Yo, so I walk, I put on my clothes, and like I'm spinning, right? I'm spinning. I look in the mirror, and for 15 minutes, I was staring in the mirror, laughing and smiling at myself.
That's just a normal Tuesday.
That's the shit. When you at the house party and you gather yourself up, you take a piss, and you just start laughing.
But is that what it felt? It was
I
like
miss those times, man. Man, fuck COVID, fuck Trump, man.
We gotta do a drug segment though, for real. Like
that shit was crazy.
I know we all got some crazy
about things other people did. Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah.
People by fourth names. Sure.
Talking about melatonin
Michael,
gummies.
that stupid Michael Tabbert. I swear to God, he used to get crazy and wild. Did you ever come down from that, or are you still up there?
So literally, it took me 3-4 hours, and I was just sitting there, and I couldn't stop laughing and giggling and smiling. I was just super paranoid. And then one of my other friends, they took it, right, and like nothing happened. They were fine, and I was the fucking idiot, like going crazy.
So let me get this straight. This was a 10 milligram THC gummy bear.
You working with the feds now and shit?
He's got the wiretap.
Oh, this was.
Hello, bro.
This was a biotin
Was it in the
vitamin
shape of a
C
Grateful Dead teddy bear?
gummy.
I'm a genuine pothead, man.
It's a melatonin gummy, but yeah.
Okay.
And it don't have like I thought I was gonna die. I literally feared for my life.
What I would do for that tolerance.
Right? That was crazy.
Wow.
So what day did this fall on?
This was
I gotta
this was
write
Thursday night during the Chiefs game. This was
Thursday-
during the Chiefs
So
game.
you didn't even get to enjoy that game.
No, but I bet I
You were
was
dying?
literally staring. I was sitting at the table giggling, and then out of nowhere, like my friends were sitting there, and I just yelled out, "The Chiefs!" And I slammed my hand on the table, and then I looked up, and they were so confused.
You must have looked like a fucking vampire that night. I mean,
Yeah, like I felt.
I
something-
know your eyes are like naturally bloodshot like mine.
Yeah.
Like your shit must have been like fucking.
It was
bowl of-
insane.
a bowl
It
of
was
fucking
crazy.
blood and
Like
shit.
I was just sitting there and somebody mentioned crepes and like this thing went off of my head. Lights like a slot machine went off of my brain.
You turned to Sacha Baron Cohen in Talladega Nights. What you
Munchies,
say about crepes?
It was and I was eating the crepe and like I had this feeling like I'm trying to cut the crepe, but I had this feeling where I just wanted to take the whole thing and just rub it in my face, but I couldn't do it.
Yeah,
It
man.
was weird, man.
Motherfucker became the crepe, yeah.
That's how I felt.
Sweet or savory?
Yeah, it was sweet Nutella.
Nutella.
Nice.
Nutella.
With the
Yeah.
banana.
But yo, that was the greatest nut ever. It would last like
Oh my god! All right, man. I got to use my. Am I gonna have to use my garage band skills on this shit or what, man?
What? I didn't.
Fuck it, we'll do it live.
Man, I didn't know. I knew Zayn was gonna come in hard. I didn't realize it was gonna be.
That hard.
Yeah. I mean,
A real hard.
sitting on the
Yeah.
couch here. So back to your Chiefs. Did you actually end up watching the game? The end of that?
I did watch the game. Yeah, I came down by the time I watched the end of that game, so it was a good game.
Any other sports bets?
Oh, I mean, I made like 50,000 bets this weekend, literally.
All right, and then I guess the next best question then is, are you over or under what you went with?
Yo, I had a horrible Sunday, but by the time Sunday night came around, I hit on literally like 8 out of 9 bets. I was literally had $300 in my pocket. By the time this morning when I left, I built it up to like $2,000, over $2,000
Oh,
in
shit.
cash.
Okay.
But I lost some money elsewhere, so I probably end up, but not like a crazy amount. But I came back from the dead.
Just
on the
enough to
Cowboys.
wet your palate to go back again and do it.
Oh,
another
exactly.
Pretty
time.
much.
Rinse
pretty
and
much.
repeat.
All right, so that is a perfect segue for Open Gym. All right, NFL Week 1 is back. The NFL is back, I should say.
How
It's
about
weird.
that Washington football
weird.
team?
Yeah, it's weird as fuck, man. I'll be
It's
honest
the
with you.
Washington football team.
First
Yep.
down football team.
Yo, let me just say, I'm local guy, born and raised, not a Washington fan, but
Ooh.
motherfuckers had jokes like sitting on the ice to fuck with y'all, and to watch people have to eat all of that on my
Yes.
feed
Correct.
was,
Yo,
you
you-
know,
you
as
left all
a
your-
non-fan, it was beautiful. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let y'all just get it out. Like
No. Look, I ain't got shit to say. Here's the thing. Not a Washington fan. Rooting for your team president though, because he's a brother, and he's my fraternity brother.
Jason Wright.
right on.
And I fuck with Ron Rivera because I want him
Hey,
to
how-
succeed.
hey, you got-
Motherfucker got an IV during halftime, came back,
Mhm.
and
Thank
still
you.
rock.
Thank you.
I have nothing negative to say until y'all play us, but nothing negative to say. So
Who's your team,
I said-
Jamal?
I'm a Giants fan.
Oh.
We're gonna move on from now because that's not on the discussion for tonight.
Oh.
So let's
Giants
What-
definitely made me some money last night, my friend. I appreciate
What,
it.
what got you into the Giants, man?
we're
Otis
not
Anderson?
talking about it's not the topic of discussion.
Yeah, we ain't talking about that shit.
Listen, but the Redskins defense.
Excuse me,
was-
Washington football team.
Oh my goodness.
No, I'm
Yeah.
kidding. No, I'm
That's
kidding.
right.
Just say Washington, bro. Like
Yeah,
that's all I
the-
say. I don't even say
the,
oh,
the Washington football team defensive line
Rock.
is
Yeah.
who I suspected them to be
Mhm.
a lot earlier than it happened, but it takes a little bit of time. But you can say what you want about the Philly offensive line being out, injured, Carson Wentz having a bad game.
Carson Wentz
Eight-
sucks.
Agreed.
Yeah, I agree. But 8.5 fucking sacks is 8.5 fucking sacks.
Yeah, no doubt. No
and,
doubt.
and you know, certain plays, I mean, they were just mauling the backfield. Chase Young, Payne, like on one play, I just saw all three of them just like Bukaki fucking Carson Wentz
Yeah.
on sack. I'm just like, golly.
Yeah. So usually I'm really used to seeing other teams come in with these guys you hear about on Sports Center and ESPN every week because the Redskins were not talked about on those programs.
Right.
And you're always like, oh man, I'm gonna get to see Von Miller this week. Oh man, I'm gonna get to see, name your next best linebacker, defensive end that's coming in. I'm gonna see Joey Bosa. I'm gonna see Nick, but like,
Yeah.
go down the list. And now the Washington football team has Chase Young. Let me just tell you, like, after seeing many of sports stars like throughout the league, and I've seen my fair share. That dude is legit. Like he's there's something about like dude's presences, like even as a rookie, when he walked in the stadium, the other team was looking over. And it was just like that's when the attention started. And then it went into a pregame, bickering back and forth. And I have one shot where it's Chase Young. There's 7 Eagles around him, and he's looking down on all of them. And it's just like, dude, it just goes to show you like how big he is. But it wasn't just like it was throughout the game. It was double teams. It was him staring at the quarterback during in between plays and with this like shit-eating grin on his face. Like, dude, I'm coming for you all day. And Carson's just like staring off at him like, fuck, man. This dude is not going to stop. And it really throughout the entire game, that's why they got 8.5 sacks. It's not that Chase Young did it all himself, but the other dudes fed off his energy so much.
I saw I saw the sack stats. It was, a couple players with 2, a couple with a 1.5, one with 1, 2 of them with half a sack.
Yeah.
It was impressive.
It's that theory that like you get that one guy out there who you really believe in, and the rest will just rally around them. And I know that Strahan used to do that for the Giants, and I can't remember who would have done that for the Dolphins, but maybe Jason Taylor pre Redskins, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the Redskins just haven't had. I mean, they haven't had many blue chip elite players that have had the skills and the look, and
Right.
and Chase Young just has that.
And I don't want to be the Debbie Downer or the pessimistic one, but when we're talking about DC sports, like you just hate to see or hate to feel like something might come up or something might happen where.
But that's what we're programmed to do. I get it.
Exactly, we get it, right? And so like we
Truly,
hear about these guys. We hear about these guys coming to town and completely revamping the culture single-handedly.
RG3 was that guy. RG3
exactly,
was that guy.
And that's the first guy you think of, right?
Yeah.
And so with Chase Young, you love every single thing about him to the point where you want to drink the man's bathwater or some shit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Oh, yeah.
like everything from the inside out, from what he does on the field, off the field, on the sideline. Talking up against opponents, the whole nine.
Yeah.
Also a native of the area, everything. Yeah. You know what I mean? So like, you look at all that, and you just want it to last. Just fucking last, man.
I agree. I fully agree.
Just be what we want you to be long term.
Mm-hmm.
Be the anchor of this defense. Just be the reason why we're gonna talk about this defense for years.
Yeah.
Two sacks and 2 forced fumbles. If he keeps that average up for the next decade, I'd be a happy camper.
Do it.
Hell of a debut.
He's on pace for 900 sacks right now, right? I mean,
what's the over under on that? Can I take the odds?
For the year?
Over-under on
For the
sacks?
year?
What was the number?
I wonder if you can.
I think the year is 10.5. If I
Ooh,
recall.
big over,
I
big
would take
over.
that. Yeah, I would take that.
I mean, that's a lot for a rookie, man.
That's a lot.
That's a lot
That's
for a
a
rookie.
lot.
So listen, before we get into the rest of the NFL, let me just tell you, watching a football game from an empty stadium,
Yeah.
it's odd. It's just an odd experience, man. You can hear everything. You can hear the players on the sideline if you're down close enough. So we're not allowed on the field this season. There's only a select few badge members who can get down there, but the photographers are in a section above the advertisements that run in the lower bowl. So it's about 10 rows up, and it's just you can hear like the quarterbacks, it's just, you can hear them typically, but like it is very clear as to like Arizona 1-2 1-2, I mean, like everything is very, very clear. You can hear the owner's box cheering when a play happens. Like, so everything in the stadium is just kind of like amplified. But I gotta tell you, like the players themselves, like you can kind of tell that they're like, damn, man, this is about the time when the crowd will be like, all into it, getting you hyped.
Right. Yeah.
And as I was sitting there, I was thinking to myself, is the guy running the music in between not the most important guy right now, or girl like DJ Mixer or whoever it is? Because you could literally, if you get in tune with your players with what they want, like imagine like Chase Young's got his favorite hype song before he's about to go for this important series, and I don't think that coordination exists. I don't know if I'm just making some shit up.
No. I think that's super fair, because I was going to ask, like, we talked, I think we alluded to it a bit a few weeks ago about the bubble environment and how it's impacting the players' mentalities on the court. So with football, particularly with no fans at all, and you've got some medium level volume crowd noise that's being pumped into the stadium. From your experience being there, and obviously you and I have covered so many games at FedEx, at Lambeau, to see this vast change in atmosphere. How much of that impacted the players in terms of their play, like on those third downs, right? Me watching the game as a fan, I'm thinking, okay, it's 3rd and 10. I'm a Dolphins fan, so I'm watching the Patriots game. 3rd and 10. And, oh shit, the crowd's about to get really loud now, right? And it's like you don't hear it.
Yeah.
So for the players on the field, from your experience, from your vantage point, did you see that kind of play a part in the way the plays unfolded and how in their effort and anything?
So I think in football it mattered much more than in baseball.
Yeah.
So Nationals Park, it was they had an ambient noise that was in the background that just eventually it just sounded like static, just kind of all the way through. And I don't think the players, obviously I think they would want the fans to be there to cheer them on for certain things, but I think it was much more of an effect in football. but I'm gonna say probably from the road team's perspective in a positive manner,
Yeah, of
because
course.
you don't have to
Yeah.
worry about that nonsense coming from the
Yep.
stands, and you
Absolutely.
can just focus on watching the ball. Even though the
Mhm.
Redskins came out with a bunch of defensive penalties to start the game, that's part of the reason they went down 17-0. But
Right.
they it's so it's just, yeah, I think that there was plenty of times when it was like third down, they just went to a TV timeout, they came back, and then it was just kind of like, all right guys, let's start it back up again. And I'll tell you, the hardest part, to be honest with you, was when they did lift up your voice at the beginning, right before they did the national anthem. There was silence in the entire crowd. Everybody was like reverent, hands, hats off heads. And right after that, the players had to go back into the locker. The Eagles had to go back into the locker room, and the Redskins were going to get introduced.
Yeah.
And it was just like this, hey, dude, you just went from 0 to now 15. We need you all hyped up to come back
Yeah.
out and play a football game.
Yeah.
And dude, to be able to process handling what was shown on the video screen, which I think was played on TV as well, that was different. That was definitely different.
Talk about the heat of the moment. So we're talking about, like, it's 17-14 now, right? The Redskins have scored 2 straight touchdowns, and the Eagles just punt the ball now, and the Redskins have the ball back, and this is their shot now to take the lead, right?
Yeah.
Talk about that. The intensity there, the vibes there.
They knew.
Obviously. So what I'm saying is, like, so obviously, if we're not in COVID times, we're down 3 now. The crowd's into it, egging them on. How much of that was audibly and emotionally missing?
To be honest,
in that moment?
To be honest with you, I think each one of the teams did a good job of celebrating their moments. When Ertz caught his touchdown, it was there was audible.
Right.
I mean, it's like shit talking. You're screaming across to the other team.
Right.
They can hear you across the way.
Right.
And as each score happened, that intensity got more. But the second half, the Redskins just kept making plays on every series. And to me, where it changed, where their voice levels changed, was on the Ryan Kerrigan fumble recovery.
Yeah.
Chase Young caused a fumble, and Kerrigan got it, and everybody was just hyped for Kerrigan because, dude, the guy had a standout day, and he only played 22 of 70 snaps. Like, it was kind of
Dexter Manley for all time on the.
But that's good to hear, though, because at the end of the day, regardless of exactly, and at the end of the day, that's all that matters for us as fans, because we're there for them to watch them play their hearts out,
of course,
play their emotions out. So as long as they don't lose that, and that was the biggest question for me as a fan, was like, how much of that is going to impact them emotionally to the point where it might just alter the way they play or the effort they put in. So to hear that it doesn't really impact them on the ground level is good to know.
Well, they said Haskins gave a pretty good speech. Well, I guess talked about Rivera getting the IV at halftime. He told someone got to step up to the podium.
Yeah.
Haskins was essentially like, we were up 17-0 last year in week 1 against these Eagles, and then we bungled it away. Why can't we just do what they did last year?
Yeah, and Haskins gave him the halftime spiel, and Chase Young gave him the earful at the end of the game. So,
well, that's the way the cookie crumbles, right? But I'm not going to get on my high horse here, because Redskins fans have a tendency to overinflate victories and stuff. So I'm going to enjoy this. Definitely. It was fun to watch Chase Young. I hope they do better next week. I'll be in Arizona, so I'll have stories from Arizona for next week if you guys have them. Let's move on to the rest of the league. You guys, I know you watched Dolphins, Patriots. Jamal, we don't have to talk about Giants if you don't want to.
No, thanks. I appreciate that.
You bet on games.
Hey, listen. Cam Newton. Everybody's ready to write off the Patriots in the AFC East and just.
Why though?
But no, they are though. No, they shouldn't be. They shouldn't be. But the Bills have been getting the most buzz out of any team in that division, and that's just what it is. Yeah. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but Bill Belichick is still in New England, and for all of us that are devout believers of Tom Brady being a system quarterback, right? Bill Belichick is that system. Cam Newton is that quarterback, and regardless of the amount of time he's taken off, I watched the game from beginning to end. He's still got it.
Cam is still Cam, man.
He's still Cam. Whether he's throwing the ball, he's got so many different. It's just not one dynamic to his game. or one dimension to his game.
Yeah.
He's strong. He can run the ball. He can improvise.
Yeah.
And I saw that in full season mode on week 1. And I'm just thinking, okay, y'all ready to write off the Patriots just because Tom Brady isn't there?
Yep.
I'm not so sure.
And he's with the coach. He's with the coach that can adjust to any style of play.
Any style of play, bro. Any style of play, man.
Yeah.
Because Bill Belichick coaches against his teams, right? So it's like, what are they doing that I can do better?
Yeah.
What are they doing that I can game plan around?
Yep.
What pieces can I put in to beat them? So, yeah.
Aaron Rodgers heard all the shit talking too. Aaron Rodgers had himself a day.
Boom.
Yep.
Yep.
And Devontae Adams benefited me very nicely in fantasy, so shout out to the Adams.
Bro, my fantasy week looked like shit. It was terrible, but I'll take a Washington football team win.
Bro, let me tell you, I overcame Mike Evans not having a good game at all. And,
shut down by Lattimore.
Yeah, and Michael Thomas rolling his got a high ankle sprain. He's out for a couple of weeks. But Darius Slayton, he's out for a while.
Who's your backup receivers, Jamal?
Sammy Watkins, and frankly, the other guys I can't remember their names. I mean, that's the level my shit is on. It's that bad.
Sammy Watkins looks so good on paper every year. You're just like Sammy Watkins.
I know, right? But he's like a one trick dude, man.
I've had him a couple seasons, bro.
You know what Sammy Watkins is like? Sammy Watkins is like when you see onion rings on the menu, like, yo, I gotta take that, right? And then when you get them motherfuckers, you bite into it, it's oil dripping out there.
After 3 of them, you're like, man, fuck this.
It'd be that soft ass. Yeah, it'd be that soft.
Look, but guess who's starting this week for me? Sammy Watkins, because I have to plug in somebody for Michael Thomas. But Darius Slayton 8 for me last night. He was the only real bright spot for the Giants.
Yeah, man.
And Russell Wilson, man, reliable. Russell Wilson's a good fantasy quarterback.
He's scary, bro. He's scary.
Yeah, so I pulled out a win this week, but the rest of the road's gonna be tough.
Who else? What other games stood out to you guys?
So just to give you guys an example, of how to look at a line, right? And I'm not saying, the game could have came out any which way, but Sunday Night Football, let's avoid doing hindsight 2020. But if I told you the Rams and the Cowboys were playing, right, with all the fanfare around the Cowboys and how the Rams came out last year, the Rams were favored. The closing line, they were favored by a point in that Sunday night game, right? So obviously the Cowboys had a chance to win, but when I see that line, I'm like, why are the Rams favored? If you're a casual bettor or a public bettor, knowing the Cowboys are a very popular team, they're America's team, and based off last year and the talent levels on the team, if I would just put all my money on the Cowboys, right? But I didn't because the Rams were favored in that game. It didn't make any sense, and that's kind of an example of how odds work and how lines work, because I would have said Cowboys -3, favored by 3-4 points in that game, but they were underdogs. So,
so basically that's how you got your money back.
Oh yeah, definitely. And then I bet against the Giants. I was like, how are the Giants going to score any points against the Steelers? I bet against them. Took the under in the Broncos game. Took the Broncos. They covered. But other than that,
we might have to do a segment with you, Vegas.
This needs to be a regular thing for sure.
Yeah. You do any Baltimore bets?
Man, no, I didn't bet on them. I took Cleveland in a teaser, which means you add a crazy point spread, you make it plus 14, 15, and they still got their ass whooped. So I lost some of those.
Cleveland is fucking trash.
Yo, they're trash. Oh, they're shopping Odell right now, right?
Good, man.
I heard that.
Hey, send him to the Ravens.
It's only a matter of time. Yeah.
Why do you think he's so buddy with Lamar Jackson? He knows where he's trying to end up.
They're so trash to me.
Washington. Odell over the Ravens. Oh my God.
That'd be crazy.
Washington. Hey, so do you make any NBA bets?
Yes,
right.
Definitely. Right now the Nuggets just beat the Clippers. Breaking
news.
Who
had that coming? Bro. Who had that coming?
It is over. I can't believe that shit, man.
It's insane.
It's sad.
It's sad. I feel bad for the Clippers. They blew it, but I feel bad for them, man.
Yeah. So the Nuggets have come back from back-to-back 3-1 deficits.
Yeah.
And they had double-digit deficits in the games against the Clippers. 16, 16, and 12 at least.
Yep. 16, 19, and 14, I believe, in the last 3 games.
Yeah, I want to stop focusing on what other teams are doing wrong, and let's give the Nuggets credit for what they're actually doing right.
I agree.
They got the reincarnation of Larry Bird, Larry Bird with a true step back and a 1-foot jumper. They got Jamal Murray, who's become basically the star of the bubble, in my opinion.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Bro, I'm reading this tweet right now. Doc Rivers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years of his career where he's blown a 3-1 or 3-2 lead.
Yeah,
Really?
you know what's funny? It's funny because in 2010 when the Lakers played the Celtics and the Celtics were up in one of those games, there's a soundbite of Phil Jackson telling his team they love to blow big leads. They give away big leads. Take the game.
That's
I believe Doc Rivers has blown 3-1 leads with 3 different teams. Maybe not 3 different teams.
No,
but
so 03 he was coaching
the Magic.
So he blew a 3-1 lead there.
And then
he blew a 3-1 lead in 2015. No, he blew a 3-1 lead in 2015.
Yeah,
I forgot all of
2010 he blew a 3-2 lead.
He blew a 2-0 lead in 2016.
Damn.
Yeah, 2010 he blew a 3-2
lead. Yeah.
Yep. 09 and 2010 and 2012 he blew 3-2 leads.
So a little bit separately, I'm not sure why Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum are tweeting so much because they're also at home, but Dame Lillard with some shots at Pat Beverly adding Pat Beverly on Twitter saying, it's a good thing I didn't schedule those Cancun trips lately. Maybe I should extend the offer to you.
I just saw one of those tweets. I just saw one of them.
Fair game, brother. Fair game.
Honestly, if I was an NBA player, I would tweet at Patrick Beverly all the time. Any chance I get.
I hate that.
I would talk shit to that motherfucker every.
He almost hurt Murray at the end of that game. I don't know if you guys saw it. He literally jumped on his back and almost broke his knee.
And we look at the shit from like a fan's perspective, like a bird's eye view. I mean, and we hate Patrick Beverly as much as we do, right? So imagine being on the floor with this motherfucker, and we all play ball, right? Joe, we all play ball. Yeah. Like we all know that sucker on the court that we can't stand. And that
Pat Bev is the NBA version of the kid that comes to school with no backpack.
Man.
Just he's up to some shit. He's gonna start. He probably smell like bacon grease, and he's gonna start a fight. That's Pat Bev. Every day, every game.
Somehow you're like looking at the teacher, like, why doesn't he have to take a test?
Yeah.
He still made it through every semester somehow.
I don't feel like taking no test.
Yo, Jimmy ever come back from the bathroom? Shit.
God.
Right.
So Denver, LA, and then on the other side we got Miami, Boston. Miami, bro, Jimmy Butler.
I love that.
Is he the most underrated superstar in the league?
He is the bubble master.
Jimmy's a beast, man.
Just his influence on the rest of that team, man. Just the way he eggs them on. And
Jamie Foxx is going to play him in his retirement.
Bro, that's how I said of Jimmy and then Jamie and Django.
Yes. Yeah.
I was thinking him as a cab driver in Collateral Damage.
He has that Antonio Brown mustache thing going on.
Yeah.
No, honestly, you just see the way these dudes play, man. And I've been saying it, like Bam, from Bam to Hero to Crowder, just.
And I hate Jay Crowder. I hated him until he got to Miami. He was on those Boston teams that fuck with the Wizards so bad.
The John Wall smack on the nose, Jay Crowder.
Yes.
I grew up a Knicks fan, so I've been a Heat hater since '94, man. Like
he's OG. PJ Brown days.
PJ Brown, Tim Hardaway, Dan Harley, bitch ass, like fuck all those dudes, right? Like I couldn't stand any of them. Vashawn Leonard.
Vashawn Leonard,
Minnesota.
25-foot
University of Minnesota.
Vashawn Leonard. This is one of the guys. Like, how did you stick in the NBA so long with 35% body fat? How did you do it?
Yo, man, I'm telling you, man. So, but now this Heat team, man, like.
It's hard not to root for them, man.
Oh, they're so gelled together.
I'm rooting for the Celtics, my friends. I'm rooting for the Celtics.
And I love the Celtics too, man. Like Marcus Smart.
Yo, Marcus Smart was insane. When did he become Steph Curry? I don't understand. This dude took like 12 threes today.
Yeah.
I know.
Honestly, probably the best thing that ever happened to the Celtics, and this is kind of fucked up thing to say, is that Gordon Hayward got hurt and they put Marcus Smart in the starting lineup. Marcus Smart has been insane these playoffs.
Yo, I don't like him. I love that man. I'm falling for that motherfucker.
Obviously, Jimmy's the more talented player, but it's those glue guys, man. That you.
I love glue guys.
Yeah.
Yo.
Well, how are we talking about Miami and not even mentioning Duncan? Dude, that dude's improved.
Robinson?
Yeah, sounds like a fucking toy store, Duncan Robinson.
Bro, he
Former D3 player.
Go back to Home Alone 2, Duncan Toy Store.
Sounds like some Mighty Ducks or some
Great
shit.
movie.
If your name is Duncan, like your real name is Duncan, this is the hottest you're gonna be. Like,
Like,
period.
who else is doing more with like fringe / undrafted players than Coach Spo, right?
It's insane.
Yeah.
I mean,
Deep-
Duncan, Kendrick Nunn, right? These motherfuckers like
drafted.
the guys that are like 38 years old and played like in Croatia, like played on a court in Hungary, and then
Croatia.
they'll come over to Miami. Like, well,
Oh,
Pat,
that's all
Pat,
Pat
I'll coach
Riley,
you up. Yeah.
Well, we're gonna
Riley,
have to do an interview with Justin Zormello one of these days. He runs basketball analytics. He's been a friend of Hoop District for a minute now, like a little more, about a decade, and he worked under Spo back in the Shaq days, and so he's got stories upon stories. He also was at Georgetown as well. That'd be a good interview to have with him too.
Yeah.
I would love
Absolutely.
that. I would love that.
I'm sure Zayn would get ready for it.
Oh,
He
I'm
asked-
ready. Yo, Tim Legler on ESPN right now. His tan looking crazy again.
Like, he look crazy again?
Yo, he looks like the cheese when it gets super hot in the pizza and it's like falling off.
Yo, that night
like
we
what-
watched Legs look like like a Clint Eastwood elbow pad, just like straight like fried velvet.
He did not look good that night.
He looked like when the Texas Chainsaw dude, like when he
Yes.
peels off somebody's skin and puts it on
Yeah.
his own face.
Yeah. Legs look bad, man.
Looking like Pizza the Hut from Spaceballs.
Yeah.
Yo, that Bam Adebayo block though. We ain't even talk. Oh,
Woo!
good
That shit
lord.
was sexy, man.
I'm just watching this shit. So if you block a shot,
How's your hand not break?
Yeah. His shit like bent back into the rim, right?
yeah, into the rim. So that,
Yeah.
but that's not goaltending, right?
No.
Like,
No.
that's cylinder type shit.
There was
Nah.
There was about 2 seconds where I thought, God damn, this dude's about to dunk on everybody on that team, and then it was
Yeah.
Bam, out of nowhere. Great
Yeah.
rotation defense. Great rotation defense. Because he was on the weak side of the floor coming over to help.
Yeah.
Hey Neil, where did the Wizards draft in 2017?
No.
Did they have a pick? I'm pretty sure
Yep.
Ernie traded it away for probably Markieff Morris.
2017.
2017 was a traded away pick. I'm just not sure which one. I think it was later though.
Or no,
Donovan,
that was the-
Donovan Mitchell went right before Adebayo did that in that draft.
Yeah,
I'm
like
not-
the Heat are hitting on ridiculous picks because Adebayo and Hero both are 13th overall and 14th overall picks. They're finding talent outside of the high lottery picks, and
Wow.
that's
Imagine
What's
that.
doing it for
Imagine finding talent in the draft. Imagine that.
What happened? What happened to Justice Winslow? Is he still there?
no
Justice
trading
is
to
Nah,
Memphis.
he's
Memphis,
Traded to
man.
Memphis as
Shipped him
part of the
out.
Andre Iguodala, Jay Crowder trade.
Shows you I'm not the
I'll
subject
say this.
You haven't been playing 2K much lately. have you?
Zach Lowe's podcast, he had Dan Levitard on talking about basically the Heat culture and how they missed on some shit, but they made just such great moves to bring in the right people. And he acknowledged the Justin Winslow thing didn't work out. And Justice wasn't a scorer; he was like an athletic freak, kind of like a Corey Maggette type, right?
Yeah.
But they've been so adept at, like, Pat is like the fucking mastermind, right? And Pat is just, he's made all the right moves and the right hires to put together this team that is, technically still an underdog, but it's hard not to root for them because they play so fucking hard every game.
It's true.
And he's also just able to move contracts, like Hassan Whiteside.
Yes, that's another thing you talked about too.
He's so good at moving contracts. and
Yes,
just getting
yeah.
his play, getting guys that are just hogging up the salary cap and getting.
Yeah.
moving. It's
Yeah,
just-
I didn't think they'd be able to move that contract.
yeah, me neither. No one did.
Yeah.
So to wrap up the NBA, any thoughts on D'Antoni walking away from Houston or Giannis unfollowing all of his teammates on Instagram because ...
So I thought D'Antoni, I thought he was retiring. That was a talk early in the season. I never thought that he would stay in Houston. Now it seems like there was some weird thing where he flew back. He actually quit the team on the flight back from the bubble.
Oh wow.
But there's a lot of teams in the mix. The Indiana's in the mix for him. He's talking
Philadelphia
about
too.
like him to Philly. Yeah, it's a lot of teams. So he he'll find a job easily if he still wants to coach.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I thought that was kind of weird the way that whole thing went down.
I mean, I had heard that Westbrook was like purposefully this is what I read on Yahoo and NBC Sports, that he was like sabotaging plays and like forcing action when the play wasn't designed for him, and I don't know.
Is it really easy to coach Westbrook and Harden at the same time? Like, let's
No, it's not
Ask
easy.
Scott
Did
Brooks.
anybody think that combination was going to work?
Scott Brooks had to coach 22 and 23-year-old Westbrook and Harden. It's not the same.
Fair.
But Westbrook was a better shooter. I don't know what happened to him. He was a
He had
really
no
good
confidence,
shooter.
and he got into a slump like anything. Like he
Yeah.
literally could not hit a 3-point shot for
Yeah.
their lives.
But
in
he
the playoffs.
used to be able to shoot that mid. He used
Sure.
to come up full speed, pop that mid range all day. I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
And as far as Giannis, you know, he had a little diva moment. I forget how young these guys are, right?
Yeah, they're really young.
But just as we were coming kind of on, he put a post on IG thanking, you know, Milwaukee and said, you know, I can't look, I'm looking forward to next season. So, you know, people speculate he's got one more year left in his deal. People say he doesn't want to stay in Milwaukee in that kind of small market. I don't know.
That's always the narrative with these high profile players, is that they don't want to play in the small market. So that comes out naturally. It's never really premised by what the actual player feels or what they've said.
Yeah.
It's just a general strong presumption that high profile players are eventually going to want to play in bigger market cities.
Yeah.
But I think he's trying to suppress that talk as much as he can by, you know, saying that he's not gonna, you know, cop out and.
I mean, they told him that they want to build. They're like, whoever you want, let us know. We're gonna spend the money, but I don't really know what that means or who's available or.
Look, man, when the expectations are set really high, then you don't meet them, right? There's going to be disappointment, and these guys have been locked up in bubbles for the last whatever it has been. What is that, July 31st that they all got there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so
pretty much.
you know,
2 months.
Emotions are running high, and I mean, I wish sometimes these guys would control their social media stuff, but like I said, expectations fall, and so do your feelings, right?
That's right.
So, anyways, that is going to take us to another segment, theater and TV, talking about below expectations. Tenet fell way below expectations, and Candyman, I know, is going to piss off Jamal because that's not delayed until 2021. So let's talk about some below expectations. What's going on in the movie industry, and then Jamal sprinkle in some Lovecraft.
Yeah. So Tenet was, you know, the first film in kind of as we're kind of getting over the hump of COVID that hit theaters. That it was kind of this test case for if people still want to go back to theaters and how the movie would do. I can't remember the exact dollar figure, but obviously it fell well below expectations.
So it came out last weekend, Jamal?
Tenet's been out for weeks now. It's been out for a while.
Shit.
Yeah, it's been out for a while. And they're looking at global numbers, so not just in the U.S., but also just kind of around the world and how it did. I don't know where it falls in terms of revenue and kind of hitting its budget to break even or kind of get in the black a little bit. But regardless, if you look at the Tenet as a test case for how we can look at America going back to the movies, it did not work. It kind of fell flat. And then just late last week, the news came out that Candyman, which is, I'm a big horror movie film fan. I'm a fanatic. I think that was originally scheduled to come out in June. So obviously right in the middle of COVID, it got pushed back to September. And now it came out that the movie's been pushed back to 2021. No date, just we're pushing out indefinitely.
The whole year?
Yeah. We're not going to bother with it in 2020 whatsoever.
They said fuck 2020.
Yeah. So I thought originally it was like, well, you know, are they afraid of not hitting the revenue? Is it going to be, you know, something like that? But I saw some tweets from somebody who worked on the film, and she was saying, we wanted it to be a theater experience. You cannot get the Candyman experience that we want to convey through a digital release, sitting in your house. We want people to experience it together in a movie theater. So I'm starting to think now, well, are more, you know, production companies going that way? Are we going to put major theatrical releases on ice? And sometimes you see trailers every now and then, it says only in theaters. So so I'm wondering, are people going to stay away from digital releases altogether and just wait until things, quote unquote, go back to normal? Or are we going to see some combination thereof? I mean, frankly, I'm all about buying digital, but I do understand that you probably won't come near the revenue that you get in the theater. Plus, you're worried about pirating. So, again, disappointing, but yeah.
All these movies, they probably are caught in no man's land right now. They're like, okay, what the hell do we do? We like, all right, half the country, you know, might have some theaters open limitedly just because they don't care about Corona as much as other states. But it's just they're in no man's land. It's like, what the heck do? You got films backlogged all the way since March-ish.
Yeah.
That's just like, all right, what are you gonna do with them? Like, are we just gonna wait a whole year, a year and a half to release them?
And I like the people saying dumb shit like, well, why don't we just open a whole bunch of drive-in theaters? Like, that clearly logistically is not going to work for every place in America.
So Jamal, you actually went to a movie theater to watch Tenet?
No. I thought about it. I was like, well, maybe, I'm so desperate for the theater experience. I live across the street from Alamo. I go to Alamo. I used to go once a week, right? And that was just like my thing to do, right? I don't care what was playing.
They got the theater seats.
Oh yeah, everything. The food the menus are crazy. The drinks are like really, really good. So I just enjoy going. I would see stuff that I wouldn't fucking normally bother with at AMC, but I would definitely go to Alamo to see it, right? So I thought about going to see Tenet, but I was like, you know what? Theaters, if you look at the spectrum of high risk to low risk on COVID shit, theaters is pretty high. So I said, well, I don't want to die because I want to see, Denzel's son, blow up a car and shit. So now I haven't gone back, but I was going to go see Candyman had it stayed in theaters for the September release. That would be something I would frankly risk it for. And then I got the news that they pulled out. So yeah, it's disappointing, but I think we're all wondering what the future of the theater industry is going to be like. Some people are saying theaters like buffets might end up becoming a thing of the past.
Right, extinct.
Yeah.
People don't go to buffets anymore.
In Vegas, they do.
Sushi buffets are still good.
Yeah. Sushi buffet.
I can't imagine that it's going to get any better as it gets colder and people got to go inside with recycled air. I can't imagine.
Yeah. Plus the heightened paranoia when people have just like a cold, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Somebody's coughing next to you.
Flu or whatever it might be.
Yeah. I'm not on that.
So instead of movies, give us an update on Lovecraft.
Yeah, Lovecraft, last episode aired on Sunday. To me, I mean, if anybody's watching the series, it was my second favorite outside of the kind of quote unquote haunted house one. The theme of this was like metamorphosis. So I liked it a lot because if you know Jordan Peele's work, obviously everything with him is really centered around race and race issues, right? So one of the main characters was basically kind of cloaked in the flesh of a white woman, and she got to feel quote unquote human by being treated like a normal person by police, by store patrons, by her employer. She got a job that she would have never normally gotten with a regular credential just because of her, her white skin. Also, Tick, our major character, the young kind of protagonist, he's dealing with a lot of issues around, kind of coming out of abuse being abused as a child by his dad. His dad had some issues to kind of come to grips with around his sexuality. Wire fans and Boardwalk fans know Michael K. Williams. He plays the protagonist's father. And if you're looking for a reprise of Omar, he's dealing with the same kind of shit here, right? Very, machismo, strong veneer, but also dealing with kind of latent homosexuality. So it was a strong episode, like a lot of major stuff in it. Lot of gore in it. So if you like CGI and a lot of blood and guts and what have you, this episode had it all. So that shit blew me away. I watched this the second time today. I listened to my podcast to kind of catch up and, catch the Easter eggs in it. But I thought it was fucking dope, man. It was really good. So that's a Lovecraft update. Also, real quick, Raised by Wolves, another HBO Max exclusive. I got into that. I'm on episode 2. That's a Ridley Scott Aliens producer type of production. Very dystopia, post-Earth, and a lot of kind of struggles with religion and androids and a little bit of everything in it. Episode 1 was fucking dope. I think I'm going to stick with this too. I think 5 episodes up now. I don't know if that's the whole series, but yeah. So that's the other thing I'm getting into now. I try to get back into The Boys, which is the Amazon Prime exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
Episode 2 is not. Yeah, it didn't. The episode 1 of season 2 didn't grab me. I think because I fucking forgot everything. So I need to probably watch another primer to get all those plot points back. But yeah, it's a lot of good shit right now. So if you're missing the movies, there's plenty of good TV out there.
All right. And what about you, Neil? Where are you in Sopranos?
Just watched Johnny Sachs' daughter's wedding. So, last few episodes. Maybe this time next week when we record the next pod, I might be.
Wait, that's season 5 or 6?
That's season 6.
Jeez,
that's like the 5th episode of season 6. It's
how many seasons of Sopranos? I feel like
6.
6.
And they're
Okay,
like 13
okay.
episodes each,
Yeah.
about an hour
man.
each.
Yeah. Season
That's a-
6 has about 16 episodes. It's 6A and 6B.
16
Oh.
episodes.
Yeah,
Sheesh.
6A. There's just 2 parts. Season 6.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Sopranos,
It's
keeping heavy.
gonna be great to be able to speak of the whole Soprano series with you once you're done, because we're not gonna wait on Abdullah to finish.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We'll just have to cut these 2 guys out.
Actually, as a matter of fact, once Neil finishes, before Abdullah does, then we can throw Abdullah into detention.
Right.
Mo, when'd you watch Sopranos?
Me?
No.
Mark gets a pass though.
This
He
is
gets a
true.
pass because he's never seen any gangster movies.
It's not even that. I'm gonna be real with you, man. I saw how much content there was. Like, I'm not watching shit with 16 episodes in a season.
Oh, no. That's only season 6. Only season 6 has a long.
So what's the average? Like 10?
13.
12.
13 episodes? 12? Yeah, okay. I wouldn't watch 13 episodes of Fraggle Rock. I can't watch Sopranos.
Oh my god.
I mean, I might try one, but that's a lot, bro. That's a lot.
HBO, baby, HBO.
I know. HBO's never let me down, but man,
Fraggle
that's a
Rock is
lot.
underrated.
Fuck
Fraggle
yeah.
Rock is good programming.
Yeah.
Also HBO, wasn't it? Back in the day.
It was. Yep.
Yeah, that's good.
That's why I come to school in Flex, because we had HBO early.
Well, Abdullah, so you're guaranteed detention next week because we know that Neil's going to finish this week. So, we'll keep you clear there. Let's get into the final period here. Detention. We've got 3 candidates this week. Chiefs fans decided to boo Kansas City, and just when you think shit can't get more bizarre, Kansas City and Houston linking arms. Skip Bayless apparently is not happy with the way Dak Prescott went about dealing with his brother's suicide. And we've got 2 on the divorcee, on the newly divorcee list, Offset and Daniel House from the Houston Rockets. Both caught for infidelity for 2 separate reasons. Fire away, boys. Go at it.
Man.
What was first? Oh, the
Chiefs fans.
was a few
Let me
days
just say,
ago.
is anybody surprised? Is anybody surprised?
Unfortunately not.
Middle America, a stand for racial justice and equality. Of course, all 18 fans in the stands.
Yeah. You didn't buy the they were booing the Texans for not coming out for the national anthem?
They were saying boo earns. No.
Boo earns.
The fact of the matter is that Middle America, as we know it, is probably one of the most untouched areas or regions of the country where they don't ever fathom or see any of this inequality or injustice that the rest of the country speaks of and raises awareness about.
Yeah.
So for them, when they're reminded of it, or they're made aware of it, the willful ignorance that comes out, and the frustration that comes out because of that, because they don't want to be reminded of a bad America, or because they don't feel it. So it's
not real to me in Middle America because I've never experienced it. Therefore, it doesn't exist. Yeah,
because it's 95% white.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we're gonna talk about Skip Bayless in a few minutes regarding the whole Dak thing, and it falls along the same lines. He's untouched by those emotions.
Yeah,
so he doesn't
great
understand.
parallel.
It's a great parallel because it's true. Anybody who's untouched by any sort of circumstance or dilemma or trauma, they're going to willfully be ignorant to that cause, or to that awareness, or to that issue.
Yep.
That's a great comparison as you made too. The other person that comes to mind there is Coward with John Wall. Colin Coward has forever had like this itch of John Wall, like
unhealthy obsession with Wall.
You have against it.
And it's ironic and almost oxymoronic for you to admit that maybe some of John Wall's issues as a man or as a character is because he was raised in an environment, in a household that's not as
ideal or prototypical.
Exactly.
As white as Colin Coward.
Right? So when you talk about a fatherless upbringing, right? Which is stupid to allude to in the first place, to say that that's going to be the reason why he lacks character or leadership, right? But you're basically admitting that, okay, maybe he hasn't been raised the way I have, and there's certain things that he needs to deal with or fix.
Yeah.
That so, yeah.
So Bayless, anybody got anything for Bayless?
I think
What
at
did he
this
say?
point,
I don't even. Can you remind me again what was the context of what he said?
Jamal, I think you probably have the best breakdown of this.
Yeah, I mean, in a nutshell, Skip didn't think that he needed to step up and be more in the forefront and be a leader for preparing Dallas during the offseason, despite the fact that Dak's brother died of a suicide. And I've read that Dak was actually experiencing some down times before his brother's suicide.
Yeah.
So, this whole you got to be a leader, you got to be strong, you got to be, put that aside and, focus on the game, like that type of bullshit. A lot of that, Dak just wasn't enough of a leader during the offseason. I expected more of him.
It's
he
a
needed
game.
Yeah.
Game.
And to me, it's like, this is when punditry just gets fucking silly, right? Like, this industry of commentators and these guys that have, these top several $1 million gigs on ESPN and these other networks, they thrive off the labor of these athletes, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it gets to this point where this has almost become like parody, that you couldn't set that shit aside just for one segment, or in your show notes maybe say, I won't touch this because it is probably the worst experience this guy's dealt with in his life. It's terrible to me. I mean, it's stupid.
Sometimes I wish there could be like a second media to cover the first media. Like if I could have a show with some other dude and just break down every fucking dumb thing that Skip Bayless says to whoever and just shit on them for like 2 hours a day, that'd be fucking great.
Bro, when I'm done, when I'm retired from All Pro Reels and Hoop District, and I write down the laundry list that Abdullah and me and Neil and you guys will be able to chime in because you'll know the personalities. When I'm able to talk about those people without regard for what PR will tell me at that time, that is going to be a 10 show podcast because I'm going to air out so many fucking names in DC media. DC media, let me tell you something, man. There are a bunch of people that could be in detention every fucking week, man. And I would be happy to air them out.
Oh, yeah.
At a later date, of course. But anyways, Skip Bayless, Colin Cowherd, they're all the same. In my book, Skip is making $5.5 million a year for doing what he does. That blows my mind. Yeah, and a quarterback can't.
Just think about that shit. Just think about shit. You make $5.5 million off strictly off the labor of other people. Right. You have nothing to talk about outside of what goes on day to day in sports. That shit's insane to me.
Well, but the craziest thing is they're not experts at anything. They don't give you any additional insight that you can't get from anywhere else. You know what I mean? Like, I remember, let me give you an example. Tim Legler was talking to Skip Bayless about he was breaking down a certain play that happened in the Oklahoma City and Spurs series from years back. And they're watching the play, and Skip says, no, it's an offensive foul. Tim Legler's like, no, it's a defensive foul. And Legler's like, trust me, I played in this defense for 20 years. Skip says, yeah, well, I watched it for 30 years. You don't know what you're talking about.
Skip.
Come on now, Skip.
Hey, Skip.
No problem.
Skip. Come on, Skip. So speaking of come on, Skip, let's wrap up with these two clowns. Daniel House and Offset. Which one's a bigger dude? I just feel bad for House's. Like, his family found out about that shit in the bubble.
They kept on posting up pictures of his family. He got 5 kids.
Yeah, man.
Shit, and
such a bad look. His wife took down all the pictures of them together.
Yes.
It got ugly real quick.
Yeah, it was like that night. Like, she's putting the emo song, the screenshots of the song lyrics and shit, Janae Aiko and shit. It was real bad.
Oh, man.
Right, like Offset's gonna rebound, right? I mean, he'll probably not with somebody as famous as Cardi B, but he'll rebound. He'll go do something. House is done.
He's done.
Bro, your reputation, your team needed you. He was a valuable bench player for that team.
Was.
I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I mean, he was playing some minutes, and you go over some sacks, bro. That's what you wanted to cost the playoffs and the bubble, anyways. So
I mean, I'm not saying he should have done it, but I understand.
Are you looking at the
understand.
Instagram picture, or is that what you're doing?
I haven't seen it.
I don't even know. It doesn't even matter. But now he's got to wife her. I mean, that's the only recovery from this all. Like it was.
He probably thought he was good, but that's like the most monitored environment in the country right now.
Hey, LeBron probably snitched them out.
How
real
do you
quick.
think you're
when
good?
you're in that mood, you don't care about any of that, man. You lose all sense of like common sense, like anything. Your awareness goes down.
And did you say he might have been the sacrificial lamb for
James Harden? That's what I heard. I heard that it was Harden, but they
That's
blamed it on
hilarious.
him.
Damn.
Did you hear that at a Vegas craps table? Where did you hear that?
It was online. It was like forums or something. Obviously, it's not true, but it was just funny. The idea of it. Like, if that was true, that would be a crazy like ESPN 30 for 30. Like
Yeah.
When you take one for the team, even though you don't need to.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
Should have made
a future segment. Who would be the sacrificial lamb on what team for what superstar?
Put a pin in that. I like that. Who's taking one for the Wizards, man?
we're gonna call that segment Gyro Meets.
Sam Harris for Kevin Durant and some shit like
You mean Joe Harris?
Joe Harris. There you go.
Sam Harris is like
Sam Harris.
like
commentary.
Sam Harris does my taxes, man.
All right.
Schofield for Bradley Beal and shit.
Yes. Ish Smith, man. Ish Smith was like, you take one.
Hey, Ish Smith got to be one of the nicest guys I've ever met.
Ish Smith, the primary backup, man. John Wall, backups, man. He needed
back to the backup.
The coach it'll be Scott Brooks coming in. All right, all y'all got to tell me who it is right now where I'm benching. Who's going to be?
Yo, Jackie Miles is taking that sword. Taking that sword.
It's me, coach.
Speaking of Wizards, real quick, shout out to Rui Hachimura for making all-rookie second team.
Yes.
And trying to block my man out.
Shout out to Jackie Miles, man. I know your boss Ernie Grunfeld bounced, but I'm glad you're still with the squad, man.
Outlasted Ernie.
Who?
Jackie Miles is the Wizards' security.
If you saw
Jackie, I'm talking about Ernie.
But he's the Ernie guy. He followed Ernie from Milwaukee.
Right.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah. So now that Ernie's gone, Jackie stuck around. So
bro, that's how badass Jackie Miles is. He doesn't even play on the team. He's security, and people know him like outside. That's like that Dolph.
Yeah.
Dolph. Everybody knows that mustache.
Dolph look like a motherfucking like
Dolph's been with the team for 45 years. Jackie
Dolph like he lived in a mushroom.
Hey, but like you said, Paul, hey, shout out Rui. First Wizard since 2003, Jarvis Hayes to make one of those.
Jarvis Hayes.
You know what they said about you know what they said about Jarvis, right?
Hey,
his real name was Arvis Hayes because he had no J.
Oh, look. Has there been any other Wizard to get carried off the court on a stretcher?
Stupid.
Yeah.
Stupid. On that note, guys, and look, we could have probably gone for another 25 minutes, man. It's good when we got people coming back from trips. I'll be coming back from Arizona next week. We'll try to keep it a little bit shorter for you, but there was no need to cut off this conversation. Guys, I enjoyed it. Jamal, Abdullah, Neil, Zain, Joe, we'll talk to you guys again next week. Peace.
Peace.